Welcome to Colorado's Santa Fe Trail's scenic and historic byway, the Mountain Branch. Today our travels take us to Amache, located on Highway 385 near Granada, Colorado. Granada was a boomtown on the Santa Fe Trail in the 1870s and the end of the line on the Santa Fe Railway. After the railroad expanded west, Lamar won the county seat and Granada became a ghost town. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, President Roosevelt issued orders leading to the forcible detention of West Coast Japanese Americans to internment camps. 110,000 Japanese Americans were perceived a threat to national security. They were to report to reintegration centers, leaving everything they had behind except for one bag. From there, they were sent to one of 10 internment camps throughout the inland west. Amache housed 7,500 West Coast detainees. As many as 10,000 were processed through Amache's gates, and none had political ties to Imperial Japan. In 1942, the Granada Relocation Center, known as Amache, was built on 10,000 acres of windswept and treeless prairie. The terrain was infested with rattlesnakes and scorpions, scorching hot summers and below-zero temperatures in winter. Tar paper barracks and communal buildings occupied an entire square mile surrounded by barbed wire fences and 6 armed guard towers. Families of 7 were given 1 room. More than 7 were given 2 rooms, 10 by 20 feet. Each wallboard-covered room had a coal stove, army cots, a blanket, or a pad, and 1 light bulb. The conditions were cramped and privacy was non-existent. Many families constructed their own furniture out of scraps from the camp to make their apartments as homelike as possible. There were lines for everything, lines for toilets, showers, laundry, and meals. 200 people in each block ate at their assigned mess halls. They were separated from their families during meals and forced to eat food that was not good, healthy, or otherwise palatable. 6,000 acres of farmland were irrigated. Internees used their skills as California farmers, and their crops astounded the locals who had never seen some of the crops. Locals were skeptical, said that potatoes couldn't be grown here, but Amache proved them wrong. They grew enough potatoes for all 10 internment camps. Despite their imprisonment, internees succeeded in creating successful enterprises from their skill. People from surrounding towns purchased vegetables on the weekends at the camp. Internees held harvest festivals, sporting events, and carnivals. Amache became one of Colorado's most productive communities and the 10th largest city. Amache's internees endured, even flourished for the sake of their families. Their patriotism was reflected through the camp's daily activities, especially in schools. Elders passed their skills and traditions to their children. Each barrack grew an entry garden for privacy and to keep the dust down in the barracks. Some had ornamental ponds with turtles and carp from the Arkansas River. These ponds were places to go to honor their traditions. The camp had 29 block leaders who governed themselves. Skilled Japanese doctors, dentists, and nurses staffed the hospital. Japanese professionals and educators operated a fire department, police department, library, theater, and schools. The silkscreen shop produced war recruiting posters for the United States Navy. The newspaper featured a comic strip starring Little Nemo, usually about the harsh weather conditions of the camp. In 1943, the government allowed U.S.-born Japanese citizens to enlist. 953 men and women from Amache volunteered to serve the country that forcibly detained them. 31 were killed in action. Following the end of the war, after 3 years of occupation, Amache was quickly erased, its buildings dismantled or sold, and moved elsewhere.